Dorothy and Dick, Mr. and Mrs. Richard Kollmar, have been broadcasting a breakfast radio program here in New York for about 10 years. But both are well known beyond the boundaries of this city. Dorothy is Dorothy Kilgallen, veteran reporter, Broadway columnist for Hearst and other newspapers, a magazine author, a veteran inquisitor on What's My Line, and the mother of 3. Dick Kollmar was a radio actor long before he started broadcasting with his wife. He did just about everything, from Life Can Be Beautiful to Boston Blackie. He's acted on Broadway, now operates an art studio, does interior decorating. He's also co-producer of the Broadway hit Plain and Fancy, and now has his 7th stage production in preparation. The Kollmars live and do much of their work in this 22-room house. That's the one, the second from the left. It's on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, near Hunter College and the Russian UN delegation. Evening, Dorothy.
Good evening, Ed. Welcome to our house.
Thank you. Evening, Dick.
Hi, Ed.
What with your busy and conflicting schedules, it's something of an event to have you both at home and on a Friday night.
Well, it is fun to be home together always, and I'm planning, as a matter of fact, to stick rather close to the hearth, except for a wedding that's supposed to be taking place in April, and if it does on schedule, then I'll take a little trip across the Atlantic to a place called Monaco.
Just a sort of weekend jaunt, huh?
Yes, I think so. Dick is going away a little sooner than that.
Yes, Ed, I'm going to leave the hearth in a few hours, as a matter of fact, to join the National Company of Plain and Fancy in St. Louis. I'll stay with them when they leave for Chicago on Sunday, rehearse them for 2 days up there before a big opening in Chicago at the Great Northern Theater on Tuesday night, where my partner Jimmy Gardner will join me.
Dorothy, Dick was telling me when we were chatting this afternoon that a new portrait of you arrived at your home just yesterday. Is that right?
Yes, Ed. I'd like you to see it. It's a portrait by Robert Brackman, and he, of course, is the famous artist who did the portrait of Jenny for the movie of the same name. He did the portrait of Jennifer Jones, and here it is.
Oh, it's a grand piece of work. It's a very imposing setting, too. What room are we in now, Dorothy?
We are now in the drawing room, Ed. This is our Victorian drawing room, which we decided we'd have to sort of get away from it all. No television, no radio, nothing but candlelight, no electricity in this room. And the walls, I know you can't tell in black and white, are pale lavender pink, and the white curtains are lace and bridal satin. The love seat here is lavender satin that almost matches the wall.
Well, Dorothy, you've had quite a career since you started as a cub reporter. Did you always really want to follow in the footsteps of your father, Jim Kilgallen, certainly one of the best-known reporters in the country?
I think, Ed, that I probably did self-consciously because I always thought he was the most interesting father on the block. He knew Thomas Edison and Jack Dempsey and John D. Rockefeller and famous actors and actresses, but I didn't consciously think of it until I got an opportunity when I was 17 to get a job, and then 2 weeks on the job, and I knew Dad really did have the most fascinating profession. We are now entering the dining room, which is ruby red and is also Victorian.
What's the largest crowd you ever had in that house, Dorothy?
I think we've seated 60 at dinner at little round tables, but this table opens up to seat 16 or 18 comfortably at a family dinner.
Where did the idea for a black room come from, Dorothy?
We had friends who had a partly black room, and then we liked it so much we decided to be really risky and try going the whole hog and having one black, even the ceiling. But of course it does have white draperies and a bright green rug.
Well, what do you normally use it for?
This is really our living room. We use it for television, for playing records. The kids dance here. Dick dances with Jill, I dance with Dickie. And we have game parties here, and we have a collection of eagles, so we use that at parties. You can count 17 eagles in this room, but I'm afraid we haven't time. There's one. This lady is a cigar store Indian, and she doesn't count. There's another eagle here, and this is a Christmas present that Dick gave me. Would you explain that, darling?
Oh, I'd love to. This is called a sailor's valentine, Ed. You know, on those long whaling trips, the fellows wouldn't have much to do, and so they'd carve the little designs on the scrimshaw, and they would make these little framed valentines out of shells, Can you see what it says there, Ed?
I can read it very clearly. It says, love the giver, doesn't it?
That's right, and I hope she does.
She does.
Here, over here, Ed, is another eagle. I don't know whether it's too small for you to see, but it's one of a collection of American paperweights that we have sitting on this table over here. And this lady above me is a crazy sign. It's actually from a building. It is not an oil painting or anything.
No.
It was a company in old New York that made artificial limbs and elastic bandages and things like that. Here on the mantel, we have a collection of old penny banks. I guess you can see the Trick Dog Bank here, and
Yes.
and the eagle. There's another eagle, Punch and Judy. And maybe I can get one of these to work, Ed. I'll put the nickel in his hand. This is a clown, and I push a little gadget in the back here, and he swallows the nickel.
Dorothy, if you had to be confined to one job of the many that you do, which would it be?
Well, Ed, I love television. I have so much fun on What's My Line, playing the game, and I love our morning radio program, too. But I think that I would have to settle for my first love and my true love, the newspaper business. It still has me and always will, I think, I hope.
Well, looking back at this long career of yours in print, all the way from covering murder stories to racing around the world in airplanes, what do you consider your big story?
Well, it wasn't a scoop because everybody was there, but the story I loved most was the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II, which I covered from Westminster Abbey, and I loved it because it was so glamorous.
Dorothy, when do you make time to see your children?
Well, it isn't really very hard because of the way my work happens to fall. You see, we do our broadcast at 8:15 in the morning, so we're up at 7:30, and we're here when Jill goes to school, and I'm always here when she comes home, and Dick comes home soon after that. We manage to make all the parent meetings and the Christmas plays and all the vital things at school.
How old are the children now?
Well, Dick, our son, who is at prep school, is 14. I think he's watching. I hope so. He's up in Connecticut. Jill is 12. She goes to school here in New York. And Carrie, our little boy, is... darling, why don't you go and get them? Carrie was 22 months old just yesterday, Ed.
Oh, we must meet him.
Yes. Oh, I can hear his voice. Hi, sweetheart. Hi, sweetheart. Come around this way, and then you can sit in Mama's lap. Would you like to do that?
Ed, I would like you to meet my daughter, Jill Ellen Kollmar.
Good evening, Jill.
Hello, Mr. Murrow.
Jill, tell me, do you ever help your daddy with his shows or your mother with her columns?
Well, as far as Mommy's concerned, the only thing I do as far as the column is disturb her when she's working. And, Daddy, I sort of criticize the songs in the show if I don't like them too much.
Let's say I get the teenage point of view, Ed.
All right. Jill, since you're a music critic, what kind of music do you like best?
Well, I think just about my favorite kind of music is rock and roll, and I also like jazz.
Ed, I'd like you to meet our son, the blonde gentleman on my left, Carrie Kollmar.
Hello, Carrie.
Will you say, how do you do?
How are you, Carrie?
Say, how do you do? Please. Jill, you try and make him say, how do you do?
Carrie, say how do do do.
He's so fascinated by cameras, Ed, you know.
All the lights and equipment and everything else.
He does what is this here? Perhaps we can get him to talk about the picture he brought into the room. What's this?
What have you got, Carrie?
Where is the man?
He keeps hunting for you and tracking down your voice, Ed. He's very mystified.
Say, how do do do? Please? Please? Who's that over there? And who's that?
Oh, yeah.
And who's this? Who's this?
Mama.